The Darkest Hour by Robyn Smit. The first time it happened, it was absolutely disastrous. It was the worst thing that could possibly happen to any 9-year-old. The first time ever, Lisa was about to miss her most favorite, most loved, most incredible Violetta television program. Everything else did not matter to Lisa, as this had felt like the only bit of perfect happiness that Lisa could find in a very uninteresting day. Lisa lived in a tiny little flat on the 6th floor with her mum. She had never met her dad, and she had no brothers or sisters to keep her company. Life was incredibly lonely because Mum worked all day to make sure that Lisa was looked after. TV time had become especially important to her because it was a time that Lisa could drift off into a happy little world filled with fun and imaginary stories. Now this!
Mom!
Lisa exclaimed.
What just happened?
It's called load shedding, Lisa. Remember I told you that it would be happening,
replied Mum. Miss Kamalo, Lisa's teacher, had explained to the class about load shedding, and Lisa did not really listen, as she was often daydreaming about being at home, plonked on the couch, watching television. Lisa sat in the pitch dark, a blank TV screen in front of her, and she felt very, very annoyed.
This is ridiculous, Mum. What am I going to do now?
Grumbled Lisa.
Well, I am very busy trying to sort out some business, so you will have to keep yourself busy with something, Miss Mona Lisa,
called Mum as she typed away on her battery-operated laptop. Lisa dragged herself to her little half-bedroom that overlooked the city and stared out the window at the lights in the far distance. Life was just seemed to carry on out there while she was stuck in this quiet, inky black darkness. As Lisa stared into the darkness, she began to notice how pretty the city looked at night. She could see the neon lights of Suncoast Casino, and she could see the beautiful white silhouette of the basket-shaped stadium. Lisa called her mum.
Come and have a look at the city, Mum.
Not now, Lisa. I am really busy.
That was always the story. Work, work, work.
Lisa thought. Lisa climbed into bed, feeling rather bored and lonely. She drifted off to sleep, thinking about how she had never noticed how pretty the city was at night.
Not again,
moaned Lisa loudly.
This is ridiculous. 2 nights in a row?
Well, best you get used to it, Miss Mona Lisa, because it will happen often,
said Mum. Lisa dragged herself to the window again and looked out at the city. Now she was really upset, and she knew boredom would set in. Mum came through with a lit candle, and they both stared out the window at the beautiful night sky. Lisa looked up and noticed that it was full moon. Its rays gently touched all the tips of the highest trees. The most beautiful part of the full moon was the liquid silver path of moonbeam across the dark ocean. It appeared quite magical, and Lisa began to make up her own imaginary story about magical moonbeams.
Mum, would you read me a story by candlelight tonight?
Lisa asked.
Yes, of course,
said Mum, while Lisa snuggled up close in the warm glow of the candlelight room, drifting off to sleep to the gentle sound of Mum's voice. One day, Mum came home with a headlamp for Lisa.
Thank you, Mum,
said Lisa excitedly.
I can't wait to use it.
That night, as the lights went out, Lisa happily switched on her bright little LED headlamp.
Why don't we play a board game using our headlamps?
Mum suggested to Lisa. Mum and Lisa had so much fun and laughed so often that Lisa's tummy hurt. She was having the best time with Mum lately. Mum and Lisa even played hide and seek in the dark, which was so exciting and a little scary. When the electricity went off during the day on the weekends, Lisa and Mum would take walks around the neighborhood or ride on her bicycle down at the beachfront. Lisa was having so much fun creating her own stories, drawing and playing board games, that she had no time for television anymore. Lisa and Mum loved spending time together now, especially when the lights went off. Mum never called Lisa Mona Lisa anymore, because she never moaned and complained, and the darkest hour had become the brightest hour in Lisa's happy heart.
The happy end.
And a big thank you to all the grade 3 girls who helped illustrate and narrate The Darkest Hour.